Where we got up there, Oconee and Easley, we got everybody, yeah, they're good. Everybody sees the screen and everything, everybody's happy. All right, so let's pull up, we've got some homework questions. I'm gonna pull up some homework questions and we're gonna go over those first, because we're getting about halfway through the unit, because we've got some 1.4 questions. So I'm gonna cover some of those. I am an idiot. This was sent Monday. This is 1.2 21/9. So take a look at this question, and I'll tell you if it's a test question or not. It's a half test question. It's a good question here and here. I don't care nothing about the window, because you can zoom window and do that. I don't care about that. But the actual question is a good question. It's saying, what is the turning point? Well, what is the degree of the polynomial? That's not rhetorical, I'm asking you. So easily, one of y'all say something. Easily or Coney. I'm not going to ask Pendleton to say anything. What's the degree of the polynomial?
3.
It's the third degree polynomial. So those of you that don't know what that means, it's the third degree because it's to the what? It's to the third power. So to find the number of turns, what do you do? 3 minus what?
1.
And it's got 2 turns in it. So you know it's got 2 turns, so you're going to be looking for those 2 turns. Now, what's hidden behavior? Hidden behavior is something that you got to look for. So like if you see that there is 2 turns and you pull up your graph and you only see 1 turn, then what does that mean? That means you've got to blow it up until you see those 2 turns. Because 2 turns usually means that there's a local min and a local what? Max. Means a hump going down and a hump going up. So you take your handy dandy calculator and you type it in. And this is a calculator drill problem, so it's not really one that I test on. I do test on the first part of the question, you know, how many turns there is, or R, or whatever. Let me go to the handy dandy calculator. No coughing in class. I lay off the purple red. Things will kill you. Well, and let me pull up the there we go. Where'd my question go? There it is. And there we go. I'm trying to pull up everything so you can see it. There we go. All right, so we've got, oh, and I can't move it over because it'll give me, see, it won't do it. I don't know why they got this thing doing this. All right, x cubed plus 3x squared minus 9x. X cubed, you just holler it out at to me because I done forgot it. Y is equal to what? X cubed. X cubed plus 3x squared. Thank you. Really? Y'all see I don't use calculators very much. We'll just do this again. I suck at calculators. Let's try it. Try it one more time. X cubed plus what? 3x squared plus what? X? Minus 9x. And graph it. And you see there's one prime example, you got 1 turn. Well, you know it turns somewhere else. So you got 2 zooms. You got zoom, what is it? Zoom standard and zoom. You could do zoom standard or you can do zoom fit. I'm going to do the zoom standard because that's usually the best one to do. Number 6 doesn't do it. So do zoom fit. What was that, 0, or what was zoom fit? Zoom fit was 0. Try that. And it's starting to show a little bit, but not really. So you got to play with the window, which is a pain because you don't really know what to do. But it does give you a hint, and that hint is right here. For x values, it's setting the domain at -14 and what? +14. So -14, you're going to put a -14, so make sure you hit the negative button down here. -14 to +14. And then that -610, you can forget that. You can go to -10. You could plug in -14 into the equation, plug in -14 and see what it gives you, and then plug in +14, and that should give you your x and y of -20 and 4. So -20 and 40. So that's how they got it. They plugged in the -14 and they plugged in the +14 for x, and they calculated, and it's probably shot out a -20 and a +40. And that's your local min. This is your local min right here. Local max. How would you find those? You hit second, trace, and then you do the min or the max. I'll do the max because it's on the left. And you do a left-hand side right there, and you do a right-hand side, and then you do a guess, and it just narrows the time. And there's the local max, -3 and positive what? 27. Do the local min. Actually, you can do either one. It doesn't matter which one you pick. It's going to give you the same answer. And I'm going to give left bound. Left bound is right here. Right bound is right there. The guess is right in there. And that's your local min, 1 and -5. So that's your 2 terms. Okay? So this is a calculator drill problem. I might give you one of these on the test, but I like the first part of the question that asks you the number of terms. That would be a question I would give you. I don't care too much for the windows. That's just practice on your plugging and chugging in the -14 and the +14. Okay?
So you plug in the max in the middle, the third part?
I'm sorry, what?
The third part, bottom, where it's asking about how many turning points, that's where you put the max in the middle?
No, turning points is 2. Right there.
Okay.
Dang old 2. Or unless they want it. I don't know if they want it or not. I guess they do, yeah. So you would type in, okay, read the directions, Hubert. Type of ordered pair. So any way you type them in, it's going to be wrong, but I'm going to use parentheses. And what was the first one?
It was 3 or -3, +27.
+27. Close parentheses. Use comma to separate answers. So that's comma. And then what's the other one?
1 and -5.
1, comma, -5. And I guarantee you I typed something in wrong. Oh my gosh, I got it right. Usually when you type in ordered pairs, you got to stand on your head and, hold your right arm out to get it typed in right, because you either leave off a parenthesis or don't want the parentheses or whatever. Okay? Now, what if you typed in -3 and 27 and 1 and -5 and left off the parentheses on the test? No big deal. You see me and I'll fix it. I'm not going to count off for something like that. Okay? Question on that one? Maybe a test question, but I don't like to put these on there because that's just for you practice. I don't think you need to be tested on that. Capiche? Next question. I could find my... 1.29/5. graph the function using a calculator. Well, what kind of vertical shift do we have? Well, how do you know? Well, we started completing the square in here, correct? I think we have. You could actually do this. I think we did this in the last class. I'm not sure. X squared plus 0x minus 3. That's going to be x squared plus 0x plus blank is equal to 3 plus blank. Half of 0 is 0. 0 squared is 0. X plus 0 squared is equal to 3. Our vertex is 0 and negative 3. So our vertex is 0 and negative 3. That's our vertex. And then take the square root of both. X plus 0 is equal to positive or negative 1.7. And x is equal to positive or negative 1.7. So you got a graph that has a y-intercept of negative 3, and that's the vertex. Then you have positive 1.7. So which one looks like that? B. Now, punch that in your calculator, and your calculator will spit it out. But that's how you do it by hand, and that's how you do it by calculator. Take your calculator, if I can find it. X squared minus 3. Y is equal to x squared. Really? I tell y'all I hate calculators. And I'm a technology nut, but I hate calculators. Plus what? Is it plus 3 or minus 3? Minus 3?
Minus 3.
Minus 3. And it's awful to work it on this dadgum screen. Breathe, Hubert. Go back to breath. You're supposed to be able to hit delete. I didn't know delete was a backspace. Only, okay. There. And graph. There it is. Now if you want to hit zoom, I zoom standard, which is 6. Gives you a little bit better representation. Okay? The turning points are, well, how many turning points are there? 2 minus 1 is 1. There's one turning point. And where is it? 0, negative what? And you feel good about yourself. So you don't wear sunglasses in the gym. None of y'all have seen that before, have you? Been at the gym and somebody wearing sunglasses in the gym?
There's this lady that comes in England all the time.
Females, if you see something like that, run. That's a future
it's
domestic
like dark
abuse.
clouds raining outside. She comes in these fat sunglasses.
Well, I don't know what that means with a woman. I don't know if she's trying to be chic or what. But with a man, it means I've got issues. It means I have to put accessories on my car that I don't need on my vehicle. All right, 1.3. This one was sent in Wednesday. We went over that one, didn't we? I'm looking to see if any. Here's some new ones right here. Sunday. All right. This is 1.4, 39/9. No sneezing in class. An electric board determines its monthly bills for registered customers by charging a price of $12 plus an energy charge of 11.32 cents for each kilowatt. For each kilowatt, so that's 11.32 times kilowatt K plus 12. I guess it wants you to write an equation. Yep, write an equation for the monthly charges as a function of X, the number of kilowatts. So that's going to be, now you got to look at this. They're basically asking you to go back to pre-algebra and write a sentence. all right, by charging a base price of $12 plus 11.30 for each what? So that is y is equal to 12 plus what? 11.32 times what? Now we don't write x second. We write y is equal to what? mx plus what? b. So therefore, dang old Predator comes out Friday. I'm going to go see that one. I saw the Nun. It was good. On a scale from 1 to 10, it was about a 7.
I would not watch that.
Now, for somebody that don't go see scary movies, it'll be like a 9 or a 10. But for somebody like me that watches a lot of scary movies,
Scary.
it was good. My son wants to see it again. I figure after we go to the bar, we'll go there. All right, that'd be 11.32x plus 12.
What's your name?
Okay.
You are part of
Feel good about yourself?
my Jules' house. Jules over.
Let's see if you feel good about yourself. 11.32x plus 12. Oh, we've done something wrong. Let's see what we've done wrong.
Oh, the 11.32 is cents, so it has to be 0.1132.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't even catch that. That's $11. $11. Why didn't they just... Oh. There we go. Now I feel good about myself. There we go. So I don't put too much makeup on and have an orange face and a white neck. Guys, see Uncle Oompa, run. Run, because she will take a bat to your headlights. Run. All you got to do is look for that orange face and white neck. Hang on, Napoleon complex, female. Oh, I can't do this most proud I think I've ever had. 1.445/11. A business uses a straight line depreciation, which means a negative slope, to determine the value y of an automobile over a 9-year period. Suppose the original value, when t is equal to 0, is equal to 1850. So that means on the y-axis, it's going to be 18.5. And the salvage unit, when t is equal to 9, that's going to be x is equal to 9, is equal to 5,000. How much has blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you got to look, you got to draw it first. Because a lot of times, math is like physics. You can't make heads or tails out of it until you do what? Draw a picture. Unless you're Rain Man. And if you're Rain Man, you don't need to be in this class. 18.5 is 0, so t is equal to 0 is right here. So that's 18.5. And then here at t is equal to what? 9? Is what? 5,000? So that's 18.5. 5,000 is going to be down here. Basically, you've got a line. Looks like that. By how much has the automobile depreciated? Well, this is 0,18.5, and this is 9, what? 5,000. So if you want to find the change in y, you subtract y sub 2 minus y sub 1, which is what? 13 something. 13.5. the value of the automobile is reduced by what at the end of each of the 9 years? I think they're asking for the slope there, but I'm not sure. I can't tell by the way the question's asked. Looks like to me they're asking for the slope. Let's see. They're going to ask for the slope somewhere. Yeah, okay. So take the 13.5, which is your change in y, and divide by 9. What do you get? That ain't going to be it. I was thinking they were going to ask for the slope. I'm trying to figure out what they're asking. By how much is the value of the automobile reduced at the end of each? Well, then you would take how many years and divide, let's say how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be 9. No, that wouldn't work. Hold on a minute. I'm thinking about this one because the way that one's written, how much is the value of the automobile reduced? Well, you got $5,000. It depreciates $13,500. I thought you would divide it by 9. What does 13.5 divided by 9 equal?
It's 1,500.
Thank you for the interaction. I've been sitting here the whole time. Nobody said a word. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I thought it was the slope, and it is the slope. Slope is equal to y sub. Go back to the breath. Slope is equal to delta y over delta x. Why don't they just ask for the damn slope? Some of these questions are just stupid. All right, which is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, so y sub 2 minus y sub 1, you already did that. That's 13.5 divided by 5,000 minus 0, 9 minus 0 is 9. So the slope is equal to 1,500 over 1. It's been a whole lot easier if they just put slope in parentheses at the end of that question. Write the linear equation. Now, I think we went over a review of linear equation. When you find an equation, you use the point what? Point slope equation.
Oh no, Mom. My different question.
Y'all gotta quit whispering. I gotta hear what y'all are saying. 5 minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1.
That was like.
Now you got 2 points to pick from. Go ahead and plug and chug. Which way do we read?
Left, right.
Left to right. So x sub 1, y sub 1, that's good enough. I won't use 0. Why am I going to use that point? 1, it's on the left, and 2, it's got 0 in it, which means easy what? Easy math. What's the slope of the line? 1,500, Hubert. Thank you, class. Y minus 18.5 is equal to 1,500 times x minus what? 0. And simplify that.
X plus 18.
This question is a good example of how they can confuse you. Because all they're asking for, well, they're asking for the first one. They're asking for the the difference. They're asking for the change in y. Then they're asking for the slope. Now they're asking for a point slope equation. So, y, I ain't got any room. Let's go over here. This y is equal to 1500x plus 18.5. Somebody check me. That's the equation of the line. So now if you wanted to find what will the car be worth at 10 years, you can plug in 10 to that formula, and that'd be 15,000. This should be a negative. Negative. Should be a negative. That slope should be negative. Yeah. Slope, this should be a negative slope. Somewhere I left off a negative. 5,000 minus 18.5. There it is. That should be a negative 15. It's depreciating, but it's reduced. That's where the negative comes in right here. Reduced is negative. 1,500. So, in this question, the automobile has depreciated. This is your change in y, which is your numerator for your what? For your slope, change in x. So, they're asking you for this right here, the change in y. The second part of the question is asking for the slope, basically. Okay? The third part of the equation is asking for the equation. I can understand why that one would be sent to me, because the way it's written, they're going around the world when they should just draw a straight line. Capiche? Sorry about that. I was a little bit confused there with that second question, because I knew they were going to ask for the slope, but the way they were asking for it was kind of confused. Well, it confused me. I know it confused y'all, but hopefully that helps going over it. Next one. Y'all ain't going to say anything anyway if it does or not. Next. 1.4, 51/14. Suppose the cost of property is $3,100,000 and a company depreciates it with a straight line method. If V is the value of the property after X years, and the line is represented as a function of years passes through the points, blah, 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 write the equation. Okay, they just want you to use the point slope what? Point slope equation. So go ahead and write it down. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. Which way do we read? That's the right. So this is x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Well, in order to use the point slope equation, you got to have a point and a what? We don't have a slope, so that means you got to what? You got to quit. And go to the next problem. Leave it blank. Slope is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Plug and chug. 30,000, or what is that? 3? Yeah. 30.
300,000 minus 10 million.
300,000. Yeah, thank you. Those zeros start to run together.
That's a million.
After what? A million over 40 minus 30. And y'all crank that out. What does that come out to be? Y'all not going to tell me. So 300,000 minus 700,000.
divided by
over
10.
over 10, which take that 0 off, is equal to negative 70,000. Somebody help me out.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Get 70,000.
Appreciate the 2 people that interacted. Appreciate that. Now I've got a slope. I'm going to pick a point. Which point am I going to pick? It's the lesser of 2 what? 2 evils. You're going to have to deal with big numbers. So I'm going to pick the first one. Y minus 1 million is equal to negative 70,000 times x minus, what is it, 30? Y is equal to negative 70,000 x plus, what is that going to be, 210, 210, and then another 0. What does that come out to be?
10,000. No, it's
I'm
not.
sorry, say again?
Hang on.
It's going to be more than 210,000. It's going to be 2,100,000, right?
Yes.
What?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Thank you. 2,100,000. And then I'm going to bring the positive 1 million over. And everything's going to get in my way. So y is equal to negative 70,000x, and 2,100,000 plus 1 million is 3,100,000. I hope I did the math right. So you have to know your 2 equations. You have to know your slope equation on this one. Now, I like this question. Why? Because it's not confusing. All right? It gives you 2 points and explains in terms of x and y, and they want you to find the equation of the line. This is a very good test question. I don't like to confuse students. I don't like to do that. And if it confuses me, then I'm going to write it off as a test question because I'm not going to use it. Plus 3 million.
On the beginning,
100.
of the equals.
100,000. I better not put that comma in there. It might have a cow.
You got to put a V at the beginning. V equals.
Oh, whatever.
Otherwise, I did that. I did that like 3 times. It kept marking it wrong. I didn't know it was wrong.
Okay. And it's supposed to be V and X, or, yeah. Now, what if you put in Y? I don't care. Okay? So if you did this on a test and you said Y is equal to negative 70,000, I don't care. All right? And that's supposed to have another 0 in it, does it? Take that out. What's it supposed to be? 70,000? I don't want to put in commas because it may go into cardio infarction. Okay? So if you put y is equal to negative, if you got all the numbers right and you put a y instead of a v, you see me after you take the test, before or after class, and I'll fix it. I'm not telling you, now I'm not telling you to be careless. I'm just saying that to me is trivial. If you know how to do 90% of the problem and you just forget that it's in terms of v, that's not a big deal. This is called common sense, sensible. I try to be. I know y'all won't talk to me. Y'all hate me. All right, 1.447, but I'm going to wear sunglasses tomorrow. I'm going to wear sunglasses in here, and that way I'll feel better about myself. 1.447/12.
All of these are questions next time on. Jeez.
I'll put smokestacks on my pickup truck. That's what I do.
I'm going to get it.
The county sheriff's office assigns patrol cars to each of its deputy sheriffs. As the population of the county grew, the number of deputies and the number of patrol cars also grew. That'd be causality, correlation, yes. The data in the following, whatever. The data in the following table would describe how many patrol cars were necessary, blah, 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 blah. Write the function that the model's relationship between the numbers of deputies and patrol cars.
Y equals X.
Say again?
Y equals X. They're all equal or the same.
It looks like it. But you could also take your handy dandy. I'm going to show you how to use this because you might use it in a test. Is click on that little button right here, and it copies in Excel. And you can pull that Excel up instead of having to punch all those in. And hit. I hate that button. I don't know why they hit that button. And go to Insert Table. Hang on, chart plot. And you see it's basically what? Straight line with a positive what? You can actually go here. I'll show you a trick I learned in the war. Go here, and you can put, let's see, well, add data tables. You can add data labels. You can do it, add trend line. There we go. And go down set intercept, display equation, and look at there. It's a miracle. Y is equal to X. Now you can do that on a calculator too, or you can just visualize and say, well, X is equal to 2, Y is equal to 2. And you can see the relationship and say, pretty simple. But the reason I showed you this was to show you 2 or 3 things. One is, hit that button, copy in Excel, pull up the Excel spreadsheet, enable. I like the 2 columns. Go to Insert. Pick what you want. Pick a line chart. Let me find it. There's one, 3D. No, not 3D. Well, that's not what I want either. I should have just picked what I needed to pick. I suck. Let's see, delete. Cut. Let's go back to Insert. I want to do a line chart, but there we go. And then click on one of the buttons, right click on one of the data points. Go to Add Trend Line. Go down to the bottom, Display Equation. There you go. Those of you that like to use Excel, I would much rather use Excel than a calculator. It's a whole lot easier to work on this board. And then you don't have to type in the points. 1.462/17. The percent of births to teenage mothers that are out of wedlock can be approximated by a linear function of the number of years after, that's a key word, right? Highlight that, after 1947. That's a dang old key word. The percent was 17% in 1963 and 73 in 1999. Answer parts A through D. Well, that after 1947, that'll come in later, but right now they're giving you those 2 points to find the slope of the line. So right now I'm going to try to draw a graph. And it says years after what? 1947. So that means 1947 is right here. Because this is years after 1947. Everybody with me? So I'm going to say this is 1950. Then I'm going to go over here to 1960. And then 1970. Because in 1980, I know it don't go to 1980, but I'm just putting that on there so give it a little bit of, and this is quantity. Let's see, how many? 17, so we're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay? 17 and 63. So 17 to be right here. And then 73 and 1999. Whoa, I didn't know it was 1999. So 1990 and 2000. And 1990 is going to be 73. So that's going to be 70 right in here. Looks like that right there. Somewhat a straight line. So here we've got 16 and 17 slash 17. And here we've got 52 and 73. Now, for those of you that don't catch it, they're thinking 16 plus 47 is what? 63. And 1999 minus, what is it? 47 is what? 52. So that's where they're getting those numbers. You could put, the actual year, whatever, but what they're doing is saying this is 0. Then they're saying this is 16, which is 1960. So this is 16 or whatever right in here. And then this is 52. So that's what they're doing. That's why I told you that that's a very important part. So to make a long story short, you got these 2 points. And we read from left to right, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So the slope is going to be equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which is equal to parenthesis minus parenthesis over parenthesis minus parenthesis. And that's going to give us 73 minus 17 over 52 minus 16. And what's 73 minus 17? I have no idea. What?
56.
Thank you. And what is 52 minus 16?
36.
How much?
36.
And if you was to reduce those, that'd be what? 28 over 18, and then 14 over whatever. What does it come out to be when you reduce it?
14 over 9.
14 over 9, thank you. 14 over 9. So M is equal to 14 over 9. I may ask you another part. They're going to ask you to predict something. So go ahead and hit that. Feel good about yourself. Okay. Whatever. Next. That's another thing. It says, write the slope. Okay. Okay, it does say round to 2 decimals. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. I'm a guy. I don't read directions very well. Next thing. Let me see what this says. Move this out of the way. Please. There we go. All right. What is the average rate of change in the percent of teenage out-of-wedlock births over this period? The average rate of change is the percent of teenage out-of-wedlock births is the period. I'm trying to. There we go. All right. The average rate of change. What is the average rate of change?
1.56.
1.56. Again, they're trying to teach you something, but what they're doing is confusing you. The average rate of change is the same thing as the what?
Slope.
It's the same thing. What is this telling us? What does this line tell you?
Increasing.
Thank you. Appreciate that interaction. Makes life go by a whole lot faster. Use the slope, blah, blah, blah. Let me move all this out of the way for y'all. There's the prediction. Use the slope from part A and the number of teenage mothers in 1999 to write the equation of the line. All right, do 1999. So that's going to be 52 and 73 and 14 over 9. Go ahead and do that. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Here's your x sub 1, here's your y sub 1. So y minus 73 is equal to 14 ninths over x minus 52. All right, simplify that.
I guess they want a decimal answer.
Probably does.
Y equals 1.
I'm going to do it with the fraction because I can do fractions better than I do decimals. I have to rely on a calculator for that. Y minus 73 is equal to 14 ninths x minus 14 times 52 over 9. Let's go see if 9, let's see, 3. 3 won't go into it, so 9 won't go into it. So I'm pretty screwed on that. So y is going to be equal to 14 ninths x minus 14 times 52 over 9 plus 73. So somebody tell me what 14 over 9 is 1.56. Y is equal to 1.56 x. And what is all this equal to?
8.12 minus 8.12.
Minus 8.12. Everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody to say yes or no.
Yes.
Well, thank you, one person.
2.
I swear. 2. Thank you, 2 people. This is so frustrating. Usually I have, all my classes are like, you know, answer questions, answer questions. This class is like tits on a bull. 1.56 x minus 8.12. I hope y'all don't go out on a date like this. God, that's torture. Where you gonna go eat? Go down the road. Nobody talks. That sucks. Relationship lasts about 2 days. Next one. Still nothing. 2.17/4. Solve the equation. The first thing you want to do with this equation is make everything a fraction. Why? Because you're talking about 4th grade mathematics to get it simplified. If you make everything a fraction, then you're depending on 4th grade mathematics. If you don't know 4th grade mathematics, then you're going to have a problem in this class. 5 times x minus 3 over 6 minus x over 1 equals 1 over 1 minus x over 9. Now, what is the common denominator of 6 and 9? Well, let's go over here and see, because you'd be surprised somebody might get it wrong. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. Well, 3 will go in there 2 times. 3 will go in there 3 times. Well, real math stops because nothing will go into 2 and 3, but I can divide by 2, and that'll be a 1. This comes down. 3, this comes down. It's a 1. And 3 divided by, that's 3. 3 divided by, that's a 1. So we got our 1. So what's 9 times 2?
18.
See? I guarantee you somebody said 54. And hang a sign around your neck that says I can't do 4th grade mathematics. Because 54 is not it. 18. 18. 18. 18. Now this is one way to solve it. I'm not telling you have to do anything. You don't have to do anything but die and pay taxes. But you can do 18 if you want, or you can do 54, or you can multiply through by 18. However you want to do it. Okay? Doesn't matter, because you're going to multiply by 18 no matter what to get rid of the, I'm just telling you can do it several different ways. So 6 will go into 18 how many times?
3.
3 times 5?
15.
15 times x minus 3. 1 will go into 18. 18. X, sorry. 1 will go into 18. 18 over 18. 9 will go into 18. 2 over x. And now basically you have your function. All right? Let me show you one more thing I could do. Multiply through by what? If I multiply through by 18, what's 18 divided by 6? 3. 3 times 5 times x minus 3. You see where I'm getting at? 18 times x over 1 equals 18 over 1, 18x over 9. 18 over x over 9 is 2x. Either way, you're going to condense it down to get your main equation right there. Because after you get it over 18, it cancels out. The 18 cancels, so you have the equation right here. And right here. Either way. Now, solve that, because that's nothing but a pre-algebra problem. So if you can't solve that, just hang another sign around your neck. It says I can't do pre-algebra. But this is a complex rational. It does give you fits, especially if you hadn't had algebra in a while. Some people have never seen this before. They don't know how to get the common denominator. 54. My teacher just taught me to multiply them together. No comment. $15x minus what? 45 minus 18x equals 18 minus 2x. 15x minus 18x is negative 3x minus 45 is equal to 18x, 18 minus 2x. Which one's the smaller bucket? Negative 2x or negative 3x? Which one has the smallest value?
Negative 2x.
Negative 3x. So you're going to move it to the right side. This is where I get people have conniptions because I'm moving the x to the right side. Because they had some crazy teacher tell them they have to put the x on the right-hand side. It's like telling Johnny and Susie that they can go to this part, and there's a seesaw. For those of y'all that don't know what a seesaw is, it's a teeter-totter. Okay? A seesaw, and Jody gets on one side, and Susie gets on the other side, and then you pack up, your mama takes you across town, and get on another seesaw. But Jody can't get on the other side. He has to get on the same side that he got over in the south side of town. He has to get on the same side. Now that's ridiculous. Telling somebody that they have to put X on the left-hand side of the equal sign is telling your children that when they have to go, or your brother and sister, that when they go to a seesaw or a park, they have to sit on a certain side of the seesaw for it to work. I get so irritated when I hear that. Anyway, I'll be all right. Turn to the correct. 18 and negative 2x plus 3x is what?
X.
X, and it makes it what? If you always move the smallest bucket, which is what lazy people do, they always pick the smallest bucket. Whenever you use the smallest bucket, you'll always get a positive X. Always. And if you keep your variable positive, you won't have to worry about inequalities flipping and turning and all this other stuff. But that's just keeping 2 or 3 steps out of your algebra. Now, how do you take this, take it across the river, and it becomes a negative 18. And X is equal to, I have no idea, negative 60 something, 63, what is it?
2.
Negative 63 or 2?
3.
3.
And that's your answer. And you should feel good about yourself. So there's 2 ways to tackle that one. The worst way to tackle it would be to try to solve it, try to combine like terms the way it's sitting. You might as well just quit because you won't finish it. Hopefully you feel good about yourself on that one. I heard that. Y'all need to quit whispering because I can hear y'all. The reason I can hear y'all is so damn quiet in here. I think this is the first college class I've taught in 20 years that never says anything. Just blows my mind. All right, so we're about at 2.1. Let's look and see what we're doing so far. So 2.1, let me look at the outline. Where's the outline? Here it is. 2.1 is algebraic and graphical solutions of linear equations, fitting line to data point, system of linear equations, and solution of linear equations. So let's look at 2.1. I got a few minutes before y'all go into cardio infarction. So let's look at assignments. Well, let me go to chapter contents. What did I say? 2.1. 2.1. E-text. Things. I should have told them to quit whispering. Now nobody's going to say a word. I still think Easley is drinking something up there. Y'all drinking some bubbles or something up there. I don't know what y'all drinking. Y'all need to send some of it over to Pendleton. Nothing. I don't like this new layout. All right, there's one right there. There's another one. Multiply through by the common denominator. Let me get my handy dandy snippet tool. We'll look at all 3 of these. This is a trick I learned in the war. Y'all are impressed, aren't you?
Yes.
I figured y'all would be. dang old T-Rex campus, and I'm dang old using technology. T-Rex college, not campus. This campus is pretty whatever. Boy, we got people at the Pendleton campus. Good gracious alive. They still asking for overhead projectors, and so we've had actually 2 teachers ask for a blackboard.
Oh my God.
I mean, what does it say if you can't use a whiteboard? I mean, just the little markers. What does that tell you? That's not even technology. That's just, I don't know. I just blows my mind. I came up in the wrong time, I guess. All right, so we got the first one. 2x minus 3 over 4 equals x over 3 plus 1. Multiply through by what?
12.
12 over 1, Hubert. Do that. Multiply through or cancel, however you want to do it. Basically, it's going to clear the fraction. Then you distribute, combine like terms, and solve. This is a test question, just like that last homework question, 2.1 question. That's a good test question. Any solving equations, anytime you're solving equations, that's going to make up a good portion of your test. And I will pick questions carefully out of that slope section. Which was that, 1.4? I think that was 1.4. Yep. Yeah, some of those questions were pretty, they sucked. So,
do you know when the test is going to be on chapters 1 and 2?
when we get to the end of chapter 2. I mean, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. That's why I give you all the outline. Right now, we're hovering around 2.1. So if I'm covering 2.1 today, that's the wrong thing. If I'm covering 2.1 today, and I don't get any questions from y'all, then what am I going to go over Thursday?
2.2.
And if I don't get any questions on 2.2, then I'm going to go over 2.3 Tuesday. And 2.4 Thursday if I don't get any questions. So that means the closest you could have a test would be not next week, but what? The next week. But if I get questions on those sections, which I will, then we're not talking about the test no time soon. I will go through. Let me go ahead and tell you the same thing I tell my other classes. Do not worry about dates in my class. Okay? What should y'all worry about? What I am doing where? In class. That's the only thing you should worry about. So right now, I'm working on 2.1. So that means everybody should be striving to get their homework done up to what?
2.1.
Okay? Who should worry about the dates in here? Me. That's the only one that needs to worry about the dates. I'm not jumping on you for asking that, whoever asked it. I don't know. I'm glad you brought that up because right now, everybody's starting to get what? Nervous. They're thinking, oh my God, I did the dates in the My Labs Plus. You know why I did that? To keep people above my head happy. Okay, because I have to escort y'all to the bathroom and tell y'all when to go to bed at night and coddle y'all. Okay, so I have to put dates in there so you'll have some idea where the test is. I don't have any idea how smart y'all are or how not smart y'all are. I don't know how much y'all have retained. I don't know how much you've forgotten. Okay? So I can't put a date. So I put those dates in there to keep those people happy. But as far as dates and my importance, I don't care. Okay? What do I care about? I care about going over the material until I have no what coming to me at the end. No question. Okay? So do not worry about dates in my class. Now, if there's a date, I should open up if I need to open up your homework, I'll open it up. Don't worry about that. I will. I'll open it up. Who asked that question? Raise your hand. Okay. Have you checked the homework lately? When's it closed?
I'll do them.
Thursday.
I'll open it up. Don't worry about that. Okay? Does that help answer your question? Okay. I wasn't fussing at you. That's a good question because I had to go through that with 2 of my classes yesterday because people were asking the same questions and I opened up their homework and I'm just disabling the test. Okay? I'm doing that because they've looked at it and they've seen the dates and they're happy. So now I can do what I want to. Does everybody understand that? So don't worry about the dates. You worry about, there's 2 things you worry about. The outline and what I'm covering. Okay, what do I do? Y'all haven't had me before, right? Anybody had me before at Pendleton, Easley, or Oconee? Okay, when we get ready to have a test, I'll pull the test up in class. Everybody got that? We'll go over a test, not the test, a test, because each one's different. We'll go over that test, and then after we go over the test, I'll assign the dates. And then when I assign the dates on the test, what will I assign then? Well, what's besides the test? The homework. I'll assign the test on the dates on the homework. So that's how I do things. Okay? So forget the conventional, well, we're going to have a test next week. Next Tuesday, we're going to have a test. And I don't do it that way. I wait until the class, there's no questions, and then when there's no questions, I say, okay, it's time to have a test. Everybody with me? And you know what? I've done that for the last 15, 16 years, and it's really worked well versus the conventional, we're going to have a test next week. Next Tuesday, we're going to have a test. Don't work. Because everybody has 5 flat tires, and the hurricane and Sharknado hits their house, and their dead grandmother 5 times, and it just doesn't work. No matter what date I give you, something's going to happen. So I don't do it. So I just give a week and 2 times to take it, and everybody's happy. And you still try to call me with 5 dead grandmothers. All right, so here we go. And I'll stop after this one because some of y'all are already zipping. Y'all got this fascination with zippers or something. 2x minus 3 over 4 equals 12x over 3 plus 12. And what happens to the 4? 3, 2x minus 3, 4x. Now solve it.
Equals 11.
Let me call the roll because evidently with the zippers going off, I need to call the roll. I think I got 5 minutes left. I'm going to look up fascination with zippers, see what kind of phobia, or not phobia, what is it, a fetish? What's today?
11.
Thank you.
9/11.
Hang on, 9/11. Don't say anything about it because somebody will be offended. Burgess.
Here. Here.
Butler.
Here.
Sorry.
Here.
Franklin.
Here.
Griffith. Jonathan.
I'm Kinley Griffith.
Okay, what happened to Jonathan?
I don't think he never was here. I don't think
He fall in a ditch or something?
he's never been here. I don't think.
His grandma.
Is that you? I thought that was your brother or something.
That's her.
Oh, okay, I'm
I
sorry.
don't know.
False assumption. Okay, Mr. Griffith Kinley is here. Hamby.
Here.
Heath.
Here.
McCollum.
Here.
JC, are you up there? There's JC.
I'm here.
Roach.
Here.
Talbert. Talbert? No Talbert. And Vickery.
Here.
9/11. Brady. Brady. Callahan.
Here.
Dean. Lloyd. Gully. Ford. Can. Bixler.
Here.
Collins. Collins.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Page.
Here.
And Terry.
Here.
And Leonhardt. Lusk.
Here.
Speed.
Here.
And Jordan.
Here.
All right. Well, since everybody's left, I guess we'll just finish the problem later. Oh, my. Y'all, see y'all later. Y'all have a good day. See you Thursday.
Bye.